Instead of programming our mind to figure out how we're going to rebound from defeat, what would it be like if you program your mind on how am I going to celebrate victory? Y'all not ready this morning. So when we look at the text, we see Joshua, the new leader of Israel, the leader after the great one Moses. And he's about to take Israel across another body of water. On this other body, on the other side of this body of water is their quote unquote promised land. It is the place that Moses could not take them. And now Joshua stands as the next guy in line, and he's literally looking at destiny, not just for himself, but for an entire nation. It's a word to some people in here tonight, because you must realize that at times you're looking at your future, but you are indeed looking at destiny for an entire nation that is to be birthed from you. The destiny is bigger than just you. The purpose is bigger than just you, because there's a cause for the one that will come behind you. So the first instruction given was to take 12 men, one from every tribe, and take 12 stones from the midst of the Jordan, from the middle of the Jordan, from the place where the priest's feet stood firm. Now I want you to picture this. This is the Jordan River. The Ark of the Covenant is in the middle of the river. Now, these instructions came when they were already in transit. They came when they were already crossing. It did not say that the Lord spake to Joshua before they crossed. He said, do this in the midst of. I stopped right there to tell you there are going to be some times you wait for instructions in a season before you get in the season. And you might not hear God in that season before you start, but all you have is a word that he said you were going to get to the other side. And you got to be willing to get and start the journey and wait for him to speak to you in the midst of the season. He spoke and said, go to the midst, go to the middle of the Jordan and pick up a stone from the feet of the priests. The priests were the ones that were anointed to carry the ark. And as they walked through the river, the waters parted. Then they paused, and the instruction was to go to where they stand and bend over. Y'all see this motion? And pick up. It's not a pebble. Let me come out so you can see me. It's not a pebble. It said put it on your shoulders, which means this stone had some weight. This wasn't no little rock in a slingshot. This was some weight. And it said pick up a stone. Do you see the posture I'm in? God has a way of putting you in a place where even when you don't understand what worship really is, he knows how to allow life to position you where you find worship. Because these guys were wanting to stand and carry something that they weren't anointed to touch. And God instructed them, go to the feet of the ones that are anointed. Get down and humble yourself before their feet, and at their feet you will find the word of stone of remembrance for your life. I would declare and decree unto you in this house this morning that there are stones in worship that God wants to give to you. There are stones in worship that God wants to release into your life. That it's when you come into the feet of Jesus, when you come to the feet of the anointed one and begin to worship, you begin to get answers for your questions. Yes, I feel like preaching now. Worship is the key. And to have a true understanding of worship, you can only do that when you have a true understanding of the place of your deliverance. Where was the place, I asked you today, when you looked up and realized the water that you were once drowning in has now parted from you? Where were you when you thought you were going to die and you realized you were still breathing? Where were you when you went through a circumstance that you thought you would not recover from? But you look at yourself now and realize, I did indeed make it through that. Where was that place? I would declare to you that is the place of your remembrance. That is the place where you remember what God has indeed done for your life. Shout yes. Look at your neighbor and say, don't you dare forget the place of your deliverance. Don't forget it. So, as the text continues, each one grabbed a stone as a memorial. A stone from the river and taken to dry land to be a memorial. Again, the most difficult times in your life can be the very thing setting up the wall of remembrance that's for your life. A key thing to remember is this. In the text you see, it wasn't one person, nor was it one stone. It was 12 people from 12 different tribes. If y'all walk with me just a little further, I promise I'll get out of your way soon. Something that makes corporate worship interesting to me and makes it beautiful and makes it wonderful is the fact that I'm not like you. We're not the same stones. Everybody in here is a stone of remembrance. And we all come from different tribes and different places, and we don't have the same parents, and we all have different experiences of where our place of remembrance was. But oh, what does it look like when your monument stacks up with my monument, and your stone with my stone, and your story with my story begins to come together. You know, I find in those times that it's hard for me to walk in a place where real corporate worship is free and to stay bound and stay discouraged and stay in fear and stay in doubt, because even when I'm crazy enough to doubt what God has done for my own life, I see sister over there worshiping God for what he did for her, and my brother is laying on the altar for what he did for him, and it puts fight back in my heart to realize that God has not forgotten about me because he has remembered them. I wish I had somebody that knows what I'm talking about. I know some of you might always have it together when you come in, and you might all wake up in the morning speaking in tongues, but there's some days where I just don't wake up speaking in tongues. There's some days where I can hear a prophecy on Monday and I wake up Tuesday and I do doubt and I do wonder and I do worry and I find myself in a hole and find myself in a rut. It's at those times where your worship matters to me. It's in those times where what God has done for you matters to me, because in those times where I can't navigate the own moments of my life, what God has done in your life frees me. What God has done in your life encourages me. Somebody shout, we will remember.